Hi, this is Ms. Dutchins, and I'm going to go over the Anti-Federalists versus the Federalists in Part 2. So I'm going to go over the directions for Part 2. We did in Part 1 in class, so you shouldn't need directions for that. If you do, just reach out. Part 2 is very much like the first part. It's just you're reading about the Anti-Federalists instead of the Federalists. So when you get a slide like this, so the first slide that you're going to do, you're just reading this slide, but it's really important that you're reading all of the information on slide 15 and 14, because on 16, you're going to have to answer a question about that information. You'll be able to go back, but just know that you find your answers within those slides, so it's really important that you're reading those. So it's going to ask you, what did the Anti-Federalists fear? In the next section, or next slide, you're going to read about a quote by Patrick Henry. You're then going to have to tell me what you think that Patrick Henry quote means. So read the quote very carefully, and then you're going to tell me what did he mean by his quote. Then you're going to read about the Federalist Papers. Make sure that, again, you're reading all this information, because on the next slide, you're going to have to summarize the two main arguments of the Federalist Papers. And the arguments are within here. On slide 21, you're just reading the information that's on here. It's about ratification. Then you're going to read about the Bill of Rights. So these are the first 10 amendments that are added to the Constitution. So this is 1 through 10. Now, on the next slide, you're going to have to match a description of an amendment to its number. Now, I didn't put all 10 on there. I only put 6, so just know that you don't have all 10. And you're just going to take the line tool and you're just going to put a line to the correct one. So you'll probably have to go back to slide 22 to do slide 23. So just make sure that you're going there to get your information. Then you're going to read about how to amend the Constitution. It's going to have a little graph down here, and then it also says up here how that happens. Then you're going to answer and say what is necessary for the constitutional amendment. Again, you can go up here and see right here. Then for this one, you're going to just read like this little graph, and it just kind of explains our model for government, and because it is a model for other nations, and it is one of the oldest existing written government in the world. And this is written government. It's not the oldest form of government. It's just that we wrote ours down on a fancy document. And then afterwards, you're going to write the most important thing from today's lesson. So just what you think is the most important thing. So maybe you think learning about the Bill of Rights was the most important thing. Maybe for you it was the Federalists versus the Anti-Federalists. But just write about the one most important thing from today's lesson. Then once you get to this slide, it's just don't forget to mark as done in Google Classrooms. If you have any questions, you can message me on Remind or Google Comments. But other than that, that's it. So thanks for listening.